So now I'd like to demonstrate what a join is. This is when we have two different files and we combine them based upon a shared attribute. And we do that so that we can take information from two different files and sort of put them together into one file. And this is really useful. So here we're looking at a shapefile of fish locations again. And now I'm going to look at the attribute table. And you see that for each one of these points, we've got a lot of attribute data, like when the fish was located. Transmitter is the identification number for the fish. Is the fish alive? Here are the coordinates which we use to map the locations. So every one of these points has all this information to identify that point. But let's say that I would like to look at a pattern. Is there any difference between male and female fish? But I don't have that information in this table. But I do have it in a different table. And so I'm going to add that table, which is just an Excel file, but there's lots of different ways you could have this information. Mine happens to be in this Excel file right here. And the information I want is on a tab or on a sheet called fish data. So I'm going to add that. And now I didn't map anything because I'm just adding this table that's not really GIS data, at least yet. It's just a table of information. Now if I right click and open this table, you see that this is all the information that was in that Excel spreadsheet. And to prove it to you, here's the Excel spreadsheet that I just added. And it's locked because it's open in ArcMap right now, but we're just going to look at it. And here you look at this sheet that's called fish data, and you see all this information. When it was captured, where it was captured, the length, the weight. Here's the sex. Here's the tag ID for each fish. And if you notice, this table that I added to ArcMap is exactly that same data. I added that Excel file as a table to this data, to this ArcMap project. And again, you see this has the sex of each fish in it. And it also has the same tag ID that was in the point file. So if I open this point file attribute table again, and I can't have them both open at the same time, I'm not sure why. Here it's called transmitter, but it's that same ID. So there's a shared field between this point shapefile and this Excel table that I brought in. So I can use those to combine or join these two files. And basically everywhere in the shapefile where it has a unique fish identification, it's going to link that row of data to all the information that's found in this table. And so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go and right click and go to joins and relates, and I'm going to do a join. And I don't want to do this based on a spatial location. I want to join attributes from a table because I just added this table that has a bunch of new attributes in it, such as the sex of the fish, and I want to join that to my shapefile so that I can use that information. So the field in this layer that the join will be based on, this is how we're going to match up records. And you remember transmitter is the fish identification number. And then now it says choose the table to join to this layer. Well, it's already picked out fish data. That's the only other table that's here. This is what I want to join to my shapefile. And it says choose the field in the table to base the join on. This is the field in my Excel file that I'm going to use to match up to my shapefile. And in my shapefile, I'm using transmitter, which is the fish identification number. So then in this Excel file, I use tag ID, which is the same number. It just has a different name. So in the shapefile, I named it transmitter. In the Excel file, I named it tag ID, but it's the same data. And so now I can link these two based upon that fish identification number. And so I want to keep all records, and let's hit OK. And now, if I go and open up the attribute table for my shapefile, you see there's a bunch of new data tacked on the end. And you've got the capture date, the capture location, the species, all that data, all those data that was in the Excel file is now linked to each one of these points in the shapefile, including the sex. And if you look at the transmitter value, take this first row, the transmitter, this is fish ID 18273. And you come over here to tag ID 18273. Those match. That's how these two got linked together. So now my shapefile has the sex, which is what I wanted all along, plus it's got a lot of other information, but it's got the sex, and now I can use that. So now let's say that I want to change the color. So I go to symbology, and I go to categories, and now I'm going to look down here to sex, which I did not have before, but now I've got it because I joined with the Excel file. I add all values, and I got females and males. And let's pick a color. So now the females are green, the males are red. Hit apply, hit OK. And now you can see a pattern that you could not see before. Because before I did not have the sex in this shapefile, but now that I joined it with the Excel file, now I have that information and I can use it to change my map. Pretty slick. Saved me from having to retype all that data in or copy paste, whatever. And now relates are similar to that, but a little bit different, but work through the exercises in the book and you'll get a feel for this. But this gives you an idea of what you're trying to do with a join. Thanks a lot.